Welcome to Goober Time with Dr. Chris Chismore, hosted by Tom and Griffin.
We are your hosts, Tom and Griffin.
Unfortunately, our illustrious friend, Dr. Chris Chismore, is away on his important research and unable to host a podcast this week.
But fear not, dear listener, because he has left us in charge, and we are going to try to do a really good job of a podcast.
This week, Dr. Chismore has asked us to talk about
vices.
And dear listener, what you just heard could have been the sound of the opening of a vice.
A vice, yes. A vice of sparkling water.
But if you didn't know that, you might have thought it was beer and alcohol.
Yes, which is a very pleasurable vice.
But a vice nonetheless.
One of the most pleasurable vices there is.
Should we? What are vices? What are the vices you can think of off the top of your head? I bet you've got them locked and loaded in your Christian corner of your mind.
I do. I think one of the first two vices I think of my own vices.
Oh, sure.
Number one, tobacco, cigars.
Oh.
Yes, a very pleasurable vice.
Wow.
Very pleasurable device.
There you go. Wow.
There you go. We're getting to the root.
Maybe there's something in that.
Of English. Getting into the root of the vices. And alcohol.
Tobacco, alcohol.
I saw a meme today that was a teacher ask her student. Teacher asks student, do you know what two kings are responsible for the most happiness in all of human history? And student respond, yes, smoking and drinking.
That's incredible.
And of course, teacher resigned.
Teacher resigned.
Teacher resigns.
Wait, sorry, this is a cartoon you saw?
This is a meme.
This is a meme, and then it says teacher resigned.
Teacher resigned, yeah.
That's
Have
incredible.
You ever seen those?
It sounds like I've seen that before. It seems like something I've probably... I've been alive on the internet long enough to have seen that.
It's always like a teacher asks student a question, a classic question. The student really zings
Becomes
her.
The teacher.
Yeah, the teacher is always a woman too.
Right.
And at the end it says teacher resigned.
Teacher resigned.
Which I do love. I do love the concept of a student just doing one quip to a teacher and then the teacher saying, I resign. I'm done.
Sticks her head out into the hall and hollers down the hall.
Yes, but smoking and drinking.
Smoking, drinking, sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Yes, all vices. Masturbation. A vice.
Falls under sex probably. Murder,
yeah.
A vice. Could be a vice.
We were just kind of listing vices. Yeah.
I just wanted to, get through the basics of what is a vice.
Yes.
Something. Do you know the definition of a vice?
I think a vice is anything that you shouldn't do, but you do it anyway.
You simply can't help but do something that's bad.
That's bad for you.
It doesn't make anything good.
Or other people.
In the long run.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I consider a vice.
Indulging in a vice is
it's
how
a bad habit.
Sure.
That's what I think of when I think of vices. But what I think what we really wanted to do some important thinking about today is how to use vices. What are our vices, and how do you use them to your advantage? How do young men, how do listeners take their vices and use them to their advantage?
Well, we can only speak from our own experience. My impulse is just to say, I don't have any vices. I have opportunities. I have
coachable opportunities.
I have coachable moments in me.
Okay.
And I have transition point things that can be used to transition towards, swing towards another vine.
Yes.
What vices do I have? Is anger a vice? Because I have that.
See, this is where I guess, this is
just bad things.
Yeah, bad things. I think, to me, a vice is something that you do or an action, but I guess anger, giving in to anger and having angry outbursts or not controlling your emotions might be a vice.
I think it could be. I think it's probably not a typical, maybe not a biblical vice.
Yes.
Not a, it's not in the, what are the psychologists, the big book of mental disorders, whatever. It's not in that book. I've fucked this up so bad. Somebody will know. You've never heard of this concept?
I know what it is. I know what it is, but I can't recall. Whatever. I have so much going through my mind right now. I can't pull the name.
So many important thoughts.
Yeah, I have so many important thoughts. I can't pull the name from the.
But file. Anger. Sometimes it feels good to indulge in a little bit of anger.
Yes, it
Sure.
does. Anger is a gift.
Anger can be sure. Probably not great. Probably I think that's why I think it's a vice, because it can feel good to do, and it's ultimately not helpful.
It feels very good to do. Anger feels awesome when it goes on.
It's
going on inside you.
You have to learn to control it,
Yes.
or you fall onto the dark side.
What do you get angry about the most?
Other people being stupid.
Yeah, I think I saw one of your vices today when I was checking.
I couldn't help it.
When I was checking how the video was doing, and I saw, Griffin's responding to all the crazy libertarian guys in the comments.
It's just sometimes it's fun because there's something that I don't get to say out loud often. I don't get to interact with this type of moron.
Yes.
And I just kind of can't help myself when they say something so stupid as like, whatever that. It's mostly people being like, well, there's no point in paying taxes because the government's doing illegal stuff with it and you shouldn't do it. And the only reason they can make you pay taxes is because they have guns. It's like, yeah, what? Well, you're welcome to Earth, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
Yes.
There was somebody else who was like, "This, I don't like this current system." Whatever. We don't have to get into it, but I see it and I can't help but say somebody else reading this could benefit from the beautiful thinking that I have to unleash on these morons.
Yes.
Some young man out there who's maybe wavering. He's on the tilting point of, do I go full alt-right psycho, or am I a well-measured human? And they might see some of these people's goofy thinking about how we ought to dismantle the entire government, and maybe they'll see me saying something that's a little bit reasonable. But where the vice comes in, and where it's bad, the bad side of it is I get worked up and angry, and then I just say something overly forceful, probably a little bit rude.
Yes.
I'm more responding to something in my head than what somebody actually said.
Yeah.
I think I ended one of them by calling somebody a fucking donut.
Yeah, I saw the donut one this morning.
I think that's a fun insult. And then as soon as I posted, I was like, I shouldn't have done this. This feels bad. It feels like how you maybe felt in the early days of your masturbation career.
Yeah. That is.
Oh, why did I do this?
Yeah, that is a familiar feeling.
I think that feeling right there, that's part and parcel with vices.
Yes, I agree. Whenever you get that feeling of why did I do that? You do it and you're like, yes, this feels so fucking good. I'm doing it. And then after you say, ooh, why'd I do that? That's a vice, buddy.
I should not talk to my parents for a few days. I can't talk to my any loved ones because I was being so awful.
When I was in my early masturbation days, I thought that if I masturbated and then something bad happened, it was because I had masturbated. I'm like, I would like jack off and I'm like, yeah, this feels so good. And then I'd get done and I'd say, oh, why did I do that? And then I say, well, something bad is going to happen today.
Oh,
because I was like, oh, the Lord is going to, He knows I jacked off and he's going to make something just a little bit bad. Not like my mom dies bad, but just like
she trips and hurts herself.
Yeah.
She probably slams her thumb in the fridge or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's classic Christian guilt.
Yes,
right there.
And that was a big vice for me for a while. I think I saw masturbation as a vice. And now I don't know. And now I don't think I see it as a vice anymore. Because sometimes you got
5 minutes in, we're talking about masturbation.
Yes,
this is going perfectly. This is actually exactly where we want to be.
Well, and you got to clean out your prostate.
Your vice. Oh, sure, yeah. Are you trying to get to your men's health corner?
Yeah. I guess I am trying to get to my men's health corner. I guess this would be a good avenue to go into a segment. The Men's Health Corner.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so now we're in the Men's Health Corner, and I'd like to come out with a brand new diagnosis. I know I came out a long time ago as having Raynaud's syndrome, I think what it was.
I've never heard of that in my life.
Poor circulation to hands and feet, and I got another diagnosis this week. And that diagnosis is that I have arthritis in my left shoulder.
For real?
Yes.
Wow.
The doctor looked at me and he said, he saw the x-ray and he said, you have the shoulder of a 50-year-old.
Which is 10 years older than how you are now.
Which is 15 years older than 15 years older than I am now. And I said, well, you know, a lot of people tell me I have the mind of a 50-year-old because I'm so wise.
I was going to say you have the mind of a 15-year-old.
Well, see, you know, that's what some of the ladies say. But yeah, they said that I have an arthritic left shoulder and then I have a bone spur in my left shoulder and that it's called a goat's beard. And,
that's kind of fun. Can they shave it down?
No, they cannot shave it down. They said the only way to fix this completely is a total shoulder replacement.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they only do it on 60-year-old guys. They said you got to be 60.
Wow.
So in the meantime, you just got to
wear it down.
Do some PT, lube that sucker up, take glucosamine. I started taking glucosamine. They said they'll if I wanted to in the future, they'll take my blood out, whip it around in a centrifuge and get the plasma out and then inject plasma into my shoulder. Wow. And that can improve cartilage growth.
And Tom said cartilage growth, so that concludes Men's Health Corner.
Men's Health Corner, but I just wanted to come out with that publicly.
Sure.
That I'm arthritic, and say that I'm going to rise above my diagnosis, and I'm a survivor at heart.
Of course, you shall overcome, but we shall overcome.
Yes, exactly. Do not, listeners, watchers, viewers, do not worry about me.
Don't start a GoFundMe.
Do not start a GoFundMe. I have plenty of money and plenty of health, and I will overcome this.
And back to vices. What vice? You tobacco now? Currently.
Tobacco, yes. My vice actually got me in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask how it might have helped you. Let's hear how it got you.
Well, it gets me into trouble because it makes me stinky, and
hate that.
My wife doesn't like it.
Right.
She says it smells gross. It's bad for your sperm. It is bad for your health.
Sure.
And it also makes me stay up late.
Because you're all jazzed on the tobacco.
Yeah, I get jazzed.
On the nicotine.
Yeah.
But what's the benefit there? I know there's a hidden benefit.
The benefit is that it helps me think.
It helps you think?
It helps me think at 10 times speed. It helps me write.
You're overclocking that CPU.
Yeah, exactly. I'm running the numbers.
Running the numbers, right. You're staying up night getting all your accounting done.
Yeah. Like I'd say normally my brain is like, it's like a guy. A lot of people are like, oh, it's a chessboard, like King's Gambit. You remember that? Or Queen's Gambit.
No, it's King's Gambit for you, buddy.
Queen's Gambit, where she has the chessboard.
Yes.
A lot of people are like, that's how my mind works. I'd say normally my mind... A
lot of people are like that?
Yes, my mind is more of like a guy putting like a square thing into with a children's toy. It's like a guy putting...
It's an adult man playing the toddler's puzzle game.
Yes. It's for the speed, and I smoke one cigar, and then I'm numbers. Then I'm running the numbers. Then I'm messing around with an abacus.
Your mind, yes, you're sort of Minority Report. You can see, or Neo in the Matrix. He's become fully realized.
Yes.
Wow.
The other good thing about a cigar vice is it helps you network with other cigar smokers.
You can hang out with a particular type of guy.
Yeah, you hang out with a particular type of man, which is...
And it's I would say, rich guy?
I would say yes.
Wanting to be rich guy?
Wanting to be rich guy.
There's rich guy cigar clubs. There's secret cigar clubs in Los Angeles. Probably every city, but there's one I've heard talked about a couple of times. I don't know if that's from you or from...
No.
That's somebody else.
It is not. I do not smoke cigars with anyone except...
A cigar club is a strange concept.
Yes.
No thanks, I say.
The guys are weird. I was part of it wasn't really a club, but when I first moved to Chicago and I had no friends, I went to smoke cigars at this Blue Havana cigar shop.
That is insane. You're 23 years old doing this?
Yeah, 23 years old, watching SEC football with a bunch of 40 to 50-year-old men smoking cigars. That was the closest to a cigar club that I ever got.
That's kind of cool.
And those guys were nice. They were great, but they were always trying to convince me to move to the Philippines and get a Filipino wife.
Wow, yeah, okay, so it's that kind of guy. It's that type of guy who's at a cigar club.
Yes, which is, I used my vice to my advantage there, and that I used it to network.
Right, which sounds like, Chicago police officers.
Yes, and even though I didn't get lucrative business opportunities from, that interaction.
Sure.
I got camaraderie.
Which is maybe better.
Yes, I cured my male loneliness epidemic.
Right. Incredible. Me, not a tobacco guy. I've not any experience like that.
Well, you are sipping on what some would consider a vice.
Coffee.
Coffee, caffeine.
Really?
Yes.
I guess so. There are people who are like, I'm addicted to it.
Yes. People get addicted to coffee. My wife is addicted to coffee. She needs it or she will get a bad headache. And that is what I'd consider a vice.
I'm not like that. I don't push anything that far. I'm not cranking down that much caffeine. I'm quite sensitive to caffeine. And if I have more than one cup, I start vibrating and my eyes start sort of, the irises turn into like goat's irises when I've had too much caffeine. I gotta get square irises and so I try to avoid it, having too much of it.
Well, and you use it
and I would say I'm using it purely to my advantage, no downside. Because the downside is so steep, I don't even approach it. And that gets my mind humming, thinking beautifully, sometimes erratically. But in the chaos, I'm finding interesting connections to creative concepts that I never would have thought of, and most people might not have either.
Like the connection between.
Hard to say. I haven't had enough caffeine yet.
Yes, that's a wonderful thing.
More, it's like if I'm like writing, like doing some sort of creative process, then having some caffeine can really help me say, I don't care anymore about whatever the rules are that I think I need to be following. And this, like if it's like a story I'm writing, then it's forget everything that I thought I knew. I have so much energy. I'm filled with impulse now.
Yes.
Which I mostly am just filled with impulses and follow them from moment to moment. But now I'm like hyper mode, and then I can kind of blast out whatever, just some crazy shit that I never would have said otherwise. And I might end up deleting, but it gives me the freedom to just start jumping around and just wild creative, ponds, and then from one small puddle to a new puddle to a new puddle, then I've got a huge web of sort of psychotic things I've written down, and I can now more easily edit that into something interesting.
Yes.
Does that make sense? I feel like I sounded insane just then.
No. I think you're fitting right in the lane of podcast guy, talking about coffee and
coffee and creativity,
and connecting all his ideas.
Oh yeah, it gets the ideas cranking.
Well, I think that's why the thing that many vices do is they remove the judge from our brain.
That's right.
Alcohol, tobacco,
firearms.
They remove the judge from our brain and put it onto the trigger and say, I am the judge and the jury.
Wow, okay. And then you're just blasting out your beautiful ideas and thoughts everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
You're drinking, yes. Are there any other, I guess just drugs in general.
Drugs in general. I was thinking about more of my vices, and I think, there can be vices of like you said, anger. I think that, comfort can sometimes be a vice, especially a vice for me, or something like I'd much rather go down a YouTube rabbit hole.
YouTube is a vice.
Yeah,
absolutely.
YouTube definitely a vice.
Internet in general is kind of a vice. Cell phone, Instagram, all of this vice.
Yes. A necessary vice, but I need Instagram as a vice.
You need it
because then I justify it by saying I make a little bit of money off of this.
Wow. Okay.
So I need it,
and I just get angry at it. It seems
you're combining the two vices.
Two vices to make one super vice.
Yes.
One antibiotic resistant super vice. Can't be stopped. I'm trying to think if there's other actual vice. I mean, drinking, sure, vice. Hard to remove yourself from, like if you're like, I'm gonna do dry January, very hard to just, if all of your friends are drinking, hard to remove yourself from that.
Yes.
The social context of it really gets you back into wanting to have a beer or two. But what do you get out of it?
I think alcohol as a vice gives you a lot.
Do you think it gives you more than it takes?
I think for some people.
I think as I've hit 37, and I wake up after having about 4 beers, and I say, this is no longer as helpful as it felt like it was, or as worth it as it felt like it was. The social lubricant aspect of it,
yes,
incredible. Great for your, I'd say from the time you're 15 until the time you're 30.
Yes.
And then it starts to fall off, I think. And I think I'm now kind of like, I'm just so much slower to get out of bed and get shit done that I don't know how much longer I'll be much of a drinker.
That's too bad. Because everybody loves you when you're drunk.
Right.
And only when you're drunk. People love you. You are awesome when you're drunk, and when you're sober,
it's tough.
Yeah, people say guy's a little angry.
Guy's got a little anger.
Guy's got a little angry. He's always angry about YouTube and social media when he's sober. But when he's got 4 beers in him,
he's like, "Hey, let's all get in the Cadillac and take a spin."
Yeah, let's go Zoom.
Let's go driving.
Yeah, like don't drink and drive, drink and Zoom.
Yeah, no, but sincerely, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I've been mulling it over. Doing a bit of dry January was nice. I might be tapping out on the alcohol vice.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say.
Oh no, you're not going to be one of those.
I just won't drink as much. I mean, I think I'll have a beer or two now and then.
Yeah,
but being like actually full on drunk. Nah.
Damn, we lost another one, guys.
That said, quite hard it's easier to say than do because of the vice nature. So the moment that Danny texts me, let's go have a martini.
Yep.
I'll be doing that.
Everybody says they're going to stop drinking until they take a sip of one beer and they say, ooh, this is pretty nice.
That is kind of nice.
I have walked back the amount that I drink during the week, but since I have a perfect healthy relationship with alcohol,
right?
I am still going to drink, and I think I will always drink. I think that is a vice.
Thought of another vice.
You know, barring like me going into the doctor and them saying like, you're killing yourself because you're drinking too much.
That would be intense.
Yeah, that would be intense.
That would be, if you're getting to that level, you've got issues.
But like, I hate logging onto the internet and just getting fed like those videos. It's like, you're an alcoholic. We need to talk about how many alcoholics are really in society. Like,
I've never seen these.
You didn't get those?
I'm not getting these videos, Tom.
I get them all the time.
Well, that could be something.
That's what I thought too. They had convinced me
that you were an alcoholic.
That I was an alcoholic.
There's an incredible episode of some radio somewhere, The Moth or This American Life.
Yeah.
It's like a woman who was like, when she was 14, was like somehow convinced that she was an alcoholic.
Yes.
Lived her whole life. Have you heard this?
Yes.
Lived her whole life like, I'm just such a fucking alcoholic, and I think was like in the 12 running 12-step programs. Yeah. And then I can't remember the beats of it, but she like had like a glass of wine. She like questioned it once. She was like, "Have I?" And then she drank one glass of wine. And was like, "Oh, I'm fine." And then I just had the one, and I stopped. And she was like, "I was never an alcoholic. I was just 14 years old, and somebody like convinced me that I was, or something." Yeah, it was something crazy.
It was. I seem to remember. It wasn't like a happy story of like, it was because she had faced some sort of like emotional or physical abuse and had turned to alcohol.
I see.
And because she was like using alcohol as a coping mechanism, but then once she had dealt with her trauma, she was like, "Oh, it wasn't the alcohol that was the problem. It was that I
thought it was that she had been convinced that she was an alcoholic."
Well, that's what they said. She started drinking when she was like 13 because she
something bad
had come from a bad home, or I forget what the trauma was, but she was having some
bad
sort
day
of
at
abuse.
6 Flags or something.
Yeah, bad day at Six Flags.
Yeah.
Her parents forced her to have a bad day at Six Flags over and over and over again.
Honey, you can only ride Batman backwards mode one time.
Yeah.
Give me the goddamn bottle.
And that forced her to drink. And because at Six Flags they serve alcohol.
Okay.
But
you're
that was
not
the case.
And you're feeling like maybe that you're being convinced the cat's trying to get out of the back.
Yeah, that's why we're looking.
What
I'm saying is like I get on the internet and it's just like, if you drink this much, you're an alcoholic. Or the people it's like a TikTok video. Someone's like, I used to think that I had a great relationship with alcohol, and then I discovered I was really just a functioning alcoholic. And then they'll like go down these things, and they're like, this is the criteria, and then I'm like, oh, no, I don't really have any of that.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm not an alcoholic.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yes, people are like, oh, can you stop drinking? It's like, once I start drinking, I can't stop drinking. And I'm like, oh, I can easily stop drinking.
Sure.
And it's like, anytime I'm hungover, I'm like, yes, I have done this to myself. I know exactly what I did.
And I won't be doing it again.
And I won't be doing it again.
For at least a little while.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And I guess it's not to downplay the fact that, you know, anybody who has actual struggles with alcohol or is an alcoholic, I know there are plenty of people, and that is a tough thing.
Sure.
And I know it's a real problem.
Right.
But, you know, I think sometimes we swing too hard. I think the internet and anti-alcohol culture and being so cool to be like, yeah, I'm sober. No thanks. I don't drink. It's like, dude, just no one cares. Like, no one cares either way.
Sure.
Saying like, hey, buddy, I drink. It's like, people don't fucking care.
Well, I don't know what my question was. I was going to ask if your parents drank much growing up, but I'm going to hard assume they did not.
They did.
Really?
Yeah, but they never drank that much.
Okay.
They would always have 1 or 2 beers, and then my dad would fall asleep on the couch.
No, that's cute.
And my mom pretty much did the same.
I have another vice. Gambling.
Major
vice.
Yeah.
It's never latched onto me. And I have almost no vices.
Well, and gambling you can famously always use to your advantage.
You could
because you can win money.
You could win quite a lot of money, change your life.
Yeah.
Change the life of those around you if you win enough.
Yeah, I think Norm Macdonald has a great quote that is like, you know, gambling is the only bad habit that can make you $1 million. It's an awful paraphrasing, but it's something funny. Like that.
Yeah, that's it's clearly from a guy in the clutches of a gambling addiction.
yes, someone with a famous gambling addiction.
I don't know. I've never gambled much. I think I'd like to try it some, but then like when we play poker night, I'm mostly like this is an awful way to have a relationship with the other guys here. It's inherently antagonistic.
Yes.
And deceitful. Mm-hmm. And we're involving all of our finances.
Yes, exactly.
This is almost not fun at all unless I win, and then I feel bad that I've won because I'm playing with people who, if they're losing $60, that means quite a lot. Mm-hmm. And that sucks.
Yeah, that's...
So it hasn't gotten me yet. I don't see the appeal, but sports betting, I think, could maybe get me into sports. If I have to, if I say like, okay, I'm going to put $50 on whatever.
Yes.
Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
Sure, put $50 on him.
Just put $50 on him.
Excuse me, sir? My money is as good as anyone else's here. Put $50 on Travis Kelce. I'll take no more, no less. And then maybe that makes me care. But other than that, I can't really care about sports and I can't care about gambling. But if I combine them, maybe I have a chance.
Yeah, I think gambling can be very fun. I think gambling, it is, especially with the poker situation when you're sitting at a table with sometimes strangers, sometimes people you know, and then it's like, your friend will be like wagering a bunch of money, or you're like, oh yeah, if you lose $60, that I know that is a lot to you, and I know, or you just see them like keep buying back in, and you're like, well, this is why this guy's bad with money. Yeah. This is why he's always complaining about money, because he's always buying back in. He's doing multiple $60 buy-ins.
It's all these $60 buy-ins.
And then you can't help but, like you said, it's ultimately antagonistic against, all your friends. And then you're like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, I can't get into it.
Maybe if you didn't play poker so much, you'd have more money.
Here's the thing. Exactly. I'm trying to find vices that I can get in. I don't know what. I'm squeaky clean. I'm trying to game them and I can't.
You don't have any introspection.
First off, no. Why would I?
Yeah.
God's perfect angel on earth.
Yes.
My parents never told me that. I just sort of surmised it. Mm-hmm. Go on.
I think that when I was thinking about my vices, I think I was able to find a decent amount. I think that, comfort, just wanting to be comfortable, not really wanting to, not necessarily not go out, but just like, I don't want to do the hard thing.
I like soul food quite a lot. Could that be a vice? Really love having like, some collard greens, some some chicken fried steak, mashed potato.
I think that would be a vice only if you only ate soul food.
I'm just trying to think of stuff I like.
Really fat.
Yeah, okay, that would be bad. Drinking just a little bit too much is the only one that comes to mind. Comfort, okay. Anger, I don't know. I'm gonna have to get real creative. You keep talking.
You don't have any. You don't have any like lust. I think sometimes it's not necessarily like lust. I guess it's not really a vice though to be like, oh, you kind of always want what you don't have.
Sure.
Or it's like the allure of like.
I bet that's a vice.
There's like the grass is always greener, kind of like the vice of being like, oh, whatever I don't have is what I really want to be happy.
Yeah.
Is what I really need to be happy.
Okay, now we're cooking. Now I'm back on board.
I think that's kind of a vice. I think another vice that I have is like greed or the like that the fucking little dopamine hit you get when you like earn money from something or when you're like making money.
Right, would love to know what that's like.
That's a vice for me.
Okay, cool.
Being like, oh, I hate this, but I like it because it makes me money.
That's good.
Like I hate my job, but I love it because it makes me money.
Right.
I hate doing ads, but I love it because they make me money.
Exactly. I would say barely a vice, but an opportunity.
Yes. But it's still like that need, that constant need to be like, oh, well, I just earned money.
Sure.
I have money. Now I need to earn more of it which is
good.
That vice of needing to earn more.
Right.
Or have more, even though you have enough.
Thought of one.
Okay.
That same thing, needing to have more,
yes.
Like getting like the dopamine of like I got a little bit more. Video game,
yep. I was gonna say I think you got a vice staring at you.
I'm coming to you, dear audience, as a recently discovered video game addict.
Huge vice.
I definitely will just be like, I'm frustrated, I'm gonna go play a video game. I'm tired, I don't want to do anything, I'm gonna play a video game. I'm depressed, I'll play a video game. And that's not good. And that is definitely one that I feel like if I waste, let's say, 4.5, 5 hours playing Escape from Tarkov with Tim, friend of the podcast, Tim Lamphere, I'll probably be on the backside of that like, that I just deleted that time. I don't feel great about that. Mm-hmm. Unless I really killed a lot of other guys and got all their stuff, and then I feel really good. But that's absolutely a vice, and it's purely useless because I'm getting the dopamine hit of I made a little bit of money, but I'm not getting that money.
Yes.
And if somebody could come up with a way, and maybe this exists, we should be thinking about this. But if there's a way that I can be monetizing my video game addiction, I guess it's streaming. That's how you wrangle that.
But I think even
streaming, and then you're making millions.
I think that in and of itself is kind of a vice.
Yes.
Though, of being like, oh, this thing that is a waste of time also needs to be having like needing everything to be productive. I think in a way is a vice.
Wow,
and I think that is also a vice of mine. Sometimes I say, well, what did I get out of this?
Because we're both quite productive.
Yes, I think the penis boy inside me says, what did I get out of this?
Right.
Of
course.
What good can I walk away? Did I grow as a person?
Yeah.
And that's not a way to approach your life. That is a vice.
I think it is good to do that. That's going to set you on a more correct course than not having ever thought of that at all. That thought.
Yes, but to do that with everything, it's healthy to do that type of thing, like, once a quarter or whatever.
Once every 3 months.
Once every few months, you say, oh, what am I doing?
Sure.
Am I happy with where I'm at? Do it a few times a year, but to do that like with shit you do during the day, to like look back at the end of the day and be like, okay, did I accomplish everything I wanted for the day? Like, maybe helpful to do sometimes, but like to be like, oh God, I spent 4 hours doing this, playing video games today. What did I get out of it? Is to be like, I don't know. Sometimes you just get nothing out of it, and that's fine.
Yeah. Because then you're just kind of like, you're going to want to do unproductive stuff. It's good to do unproductive stuff. And then you're just making yourself feel guilty for having indulged.
Yes.
And that itself is a vice. It's a vice to be considering your vices.
Yes.
Wow. So we're trapped.
We put ourselves in a vice.
We're in a vice.
We're in a vice group.
Oh my God, that's vice triplicate. That's Vice to the third power.
We're in Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Holy shit! We've inceptioned ourselves with vices.
Yeah.
It's on every level. I think, yeah, I do that. Did I get, what's the value? That's like in the background of my mind. But I'm also still fully a moron and like, you know, I want to goof off. I want to play video game. I want to, I don't know, do whatever thing. And then get upset at myself for not having been in some way productive.
Yes.
I've also realized I don't have any hobbies other than probably playing a video game. Yes. Everything I do is towards some creative goal or some, there's towards a goal, most of them creative.
Yeah.
If I'm playing music, it's not because I just like playing music. I mean, it is, but it's mostly because like I should be getting good at this, and I want to have a product to show for myself that I've done it.
Yeah.
If I'm almost anything, I'm like it needs to have some sort of, you know, if I'm writing, if I'm like then I should be writing towards a book, and if I'm gonna write a book, then it should be in order to get it published.
Yes.
Not just because I like doing it.
Yes.
And I can do that. I can do it. I can say I just like doing this thing. Of course I do. I wouldn't do any of these things if I didn't just like doing them, but it's constantly in the background.
Yeah.
Somewhere deep in the back is, but what's the point? What's the goal?
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm so incredibly successful at so many things. This is why you can find my books and magazines in stores. You've seen my movies online and in theaters as well, even. And this is why you know about my famous puzzle box.
Oh yes, yeah. Winsler's
Wild Time.
Winsler's Wild, the famously unsolvable Winsler's Wild Time.
You can only buy it at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
In their wooden puzzles section, next to the rock candy sticks. Winsler's Wild Time, fully unsolvable. It's what it is. It's an almost perfectly smooth wooden cube. There's no indentations on it at all. But because the marketing is so hard, we're telling you so much about how it's a puzzle in the little pamphlet that comes with it that children are spending hours trying to figure out how to get into the cube. Mm-hmm. And it's unsolvable because there's nothing inside. It is just a dense wooden block.
And then you say to the kid when they say, Daddy, I still haven't figured out Winsler's Wild Time, you say, and that is life.
And such is life.
You say Winsler's Wild Time isn't something to be figured out. It's something to be enjoyed and looked at, much like our life.
Right.
It's not something to be figured out.
It's the journey, not the destination.
It's the journey, not the destination.
And the journey is stare at this wooden box for hours on end. Go back into the shed and look at the cube until you figure it out.
And the journey is being present with your cube. And once you can be present with your cube, then you may go out into society.
That's the solve.
Yes.
Being present with your cube. Your wooden cube. Winsler's fully smooth wooden cube. I could pitch that to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone would love a nice fucking metaphysical Zen puzzle cube.
It's either that or a big checkerboard made out of cloth.
Yeah, or a sign that says, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee, or
don't talk to me until I've considered the cube.
Until I've considered the
cube. Yeah, okay, these are good creative vices. These are not obvious vices. Are there more? Now I'm addicted to coming up with vices.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, in addition to masturbation, I think vice, huge naturals, that's a vice.
Wow. Okay.
I think going to the Pornhub.
Pornography.
Sex,
lust.
I think
that falls under lust.
But I think everyone's gonna have lust. But I think you know, people have certain things they gravitate towards.
Right.
I think going like huge naturals, that's a vice.
Sure.
You know, nice pair of huge natural boobies is definitely a vice for me.
Yeah, mine is old man getting denied 18 times. Video is fully 20 minutes long and no sex.
And it's not even by a woman. He just tries to check in a hotel.
Tries to open a credit card account. Oh, God damn it.
Beautiful women, a vice?
Sure, yeah. You know, I'd have a crush every time I stepped outside in college. Yes. Less so now, but yeah. can't help it. I think I trained myself as a little boy to be falling in love with nearly everybody I saw, every pretty girl I saw.
Yeah.
I just had a memory of, maybe I've told you this before. I might have I said it on the pod before, that I in like first grade, kindergarten, I would go to the top of the slide. Did I tell you this already? Go to the top of the slide every day at recess, and there was a girl I had a massive crush on named Keely, and I would run to the top of the slide and yell, "Keely, I love you," and then slide down every day at recess. And then one day I was sitting on a swing with her and another girl, and the other girl, it was like, "So do you know who's yelling, 'Keely, I love you' every day?" And I got, I'm sure, blood red. And I was like, I have no idea who would be doing that. and just never, I don't know who she is, like, you know, I never talked about it, never like expressed myself directly to her. But that was like, it was like a big feeling inside of me. And so I think that's like kind of been a guiding.
Yeah.
There's that little, whatever that is that was in me that made me do that. That was like all the time and most of my, you know, life.
Yeah. Do you think that has any connection to the anger of like, you know, with anger, you just kind of let it flow out of you. And in that, you're letting love flow out of you.
Sure.
But it's not in a very focused or healthy way.
Sure.
You know, so
not
maybe
love
like
at all, really.
The vice.
Fully just infatuation.
Yeah, just infatuation with the vice of
oh, yeah.
just, you know, not having of letting your emotions.
Unbridled emotion.
Unbridled emotion
yes.
is a vice in itself.
Yes.
Of like not thinking about what you're saying, not thinking about what you're doing, just reacting on a pure primal level.
Yeah, absolutely. A vice so much so that I didn't really date until college, and even then didn't really like date a lot until after college, because I think I had built it up so much in my mind of like talking to girls, talking to women.
Yes.
Falling in love being such a hugely important thing that it made it like a bit of a mountain.
Yeah.
To climb.
Romanticizing
romance.
Putting it on a pedestal.
Exactly, which is a vice. Wow. But yeah, I was running around having crushes all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is definitely in college, post-college, a vice of being like hooking up and trying to fill that the need for self not actualization, but like to validate. And be like, yes, I'm not a fat kid anymore. I'm gonna hook up with all these babes, you know, and just keep going, you know, from one to the other, and like that, the thrill of that like chase was kind of a vice for me for a little bit.
Yeah.
And not that I was like super slutty or anything, but I think that the idea of I think it was a vice to be like, oh yeah, I know I can take this person out and get them to like me, and then we can hook up, and then like be done with it. And then like what you really like about it is just the chase of it. Like that was kind of a vice.
Yeah, that's probably a lot of people.
Yes, and that's
that's sort of a hallmark of your 20s.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I think that kind of ties into the grass is always greener vice about being like, yeah, the next thing is going to make me happy. The next thing is going to make me happy. When what really makes you happy is just a ton of money. Just having a hot wife. A ton of money and a hot wife. Yeah. Don't be doing all that dating. Get a hot wife and a ton of money. Yeah, you just which you've attained. You feel you've attained the enough money, hot wife, not a single thing in my life that needs improvement. Wow, that's a T-shirt. Ton of money, hot wife, not a thing in my life that needs improvement. We got to bring that to the merch table. Wow, that's coming to the merch table soon. Have you seen those guys on social media? Like, I feel like there's like a hot wife guy where it's like guys bragging about how hot their wife is. No. Which I have seen an increasing amount. I think it's positive to love your wife. Nothing wrong with that. But it's essentially like it's like secular, regular guys becoming the like youth pastor, like smoking hot wife guy. No, I barely understand what you're talking about. Okay, at all right I've fully gone.
Yeah, it's secular guys who are acting like youth pastors and they have hot wives.
So like, did you ever have the youth pastor who always talked about, oh, my smoking hot wife?
Never.
You never had that?
I didn't have youth pastors.
Oh my God, I had a youth pastor who'd always brag about his smoking hot wife.
Okay.
And how much he loved his smoking hot wife.
I'm clearly aware this is a type of guy.
Yes, this is a type of guy. And
Okay.
I have seen a few videos or people on social media being like, oh my God, my spouse is so hot. And it's like, cool, you should think that. You don't need to like rub it in everyone's faces.
Yeah. What's that about? Why are you telling everybody? Also, like they should be able to tell.
Like it was some, exactly.
Hey, buddy, show don't tell.
Yeah,
Just bring her around a little bit more.
Yeah, bring her out. Let people hear her ideas.
I would love to hear what she's been considering.
Because, as two sapiosexuals, that's what is that? That's,
the most attractive thing is somebody's mind.
Is someone's mind. Yes.
And like they're like fucking awesome rack, good ass,
huge,
a beautiful body, face, all of that hair,
all of that. That's
all that stuff too.
But yeah, I think it's just I saw some video that was like a guy who was like, awesome job, hot wife, not alt-right. My life is pretty good. And it's like, okay, cool, man. You're like, you don't, it's like, that's not going to make anyone who's alt-right be like, it just seems like a bit much. You can just be like, I love my wife or I love my husband. There are a lot of women who are like, my husband is so hot. And it's just like,
that's so weird.
They'll like post a picture of their husband wearing like an outfit that he put like a little bit of effort,
or she dressed him up in,
or she dressed him in it's a guy in a blue suit, and then she's like, my husband is so hot, and it's like, he fucking put on a blue suit, chill, okay?
He took a shower. Shut up.
Yeah, he took a shower.
Why are you telling me?
Yeah.
Why are you telling other people you don't know? Grow up.
You think your husband is so hot? Fucking go fuck him in a hotel room.
Go fuck him and get him out of your house and fuck him somewhere else. If he's that hot, he's hot enough to expand beyond your own private real estate and go rent some time in somebody else's real estate.
Yeah, exactly. Next time you see some woman or man posting about how hot their spouse is on Instagram, say, hey, if you think they're so hot, get a fucking room and go fuck them.
Go fuck them in a hotel.
Why are you posting on Instagram? You could be putting that energy to having sex with your spouse.
Which you've said is hot.
Which you've said, yeah.
I think we probably need to be wrapping it up, having no idea how long we've been going.
Yeah, I started a timer 5 minutes in. We are at 43 minutes.
Okay. Some big vices. Wait, I had a couple that now well, shopping.
Shopping. Oh, that's a vice. That's been a vice for me lately.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've done a little bit too much shopping.
And I thought I had another big obvious vice, but the coffee's making my mind hum.
That's okay. So I guess if we were to have learned anything.
Competition. Sports. People are a bit competitive.
Yes.
That could be a vice.
Competition is a vice. Comparing,
contrasting.
Compare and despair.
Compare and despair. Oh, yeah, sure.
My question was going to be, to kind of go back to the vice that we were talking about earlier. If our listeners, viewers,
readers,
I'm going to put this just reading the transcript on Apple, podcast, whatever, were to take away one thing, what of how to use vices to their advantage, what would you say?
I would say, that's not my fucking business, and they need to just figure it out for themselves. No, I don't know. The one thing to take away about what we've said here today.
Yes.
My God, I can barely remember it. We haven't come up with lots of... I don't feel like we've come up with lots of opportunities in these vices.
No, I think
we've kind of just discussed them and laid them out plain and bare.
I think that the only through line I can find between all of the vices is that vices are always a good opportunity for networking.
Sure. Almost always.
Pretty much every vice involves shopping, you interacting with other people.
Gambling, you're hanging out with the guys. Smoking, you're hanging out with the guys. Shopping, you're hanging out with probably the gals. But
with the brands. You're hanging out with the brands. You're building a relationship with the brand.
Right.
When you're dating lust, you're hanging out with
the guys. Video games,
the guys or
you're hanging
girls.
out with the guys probably. Video games, you could be fully solo, and that's where it gets. I think that one gets kind of scary. Mm-hmm. But most of these are good. If you use them wisely, they are great opportunities to network. I agree.
Yes, much like a
that's
knife.
true.
Much like a knife, if you use it in the right way,
You can slice an onion.
you can slice an onion.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, you can use it.
You can use it. If you use it in the right way, it'll work.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you use it in the wrong way, you'll hurt yourself.
Yes.
Much like a knife. Incredible. Okay? Bye.
Goodbye.
Goober Time is produced by me, Griffin, and Lauren Talmadge. Executive produced by Tim McGower. Associate producer Ahmed Stork, and aspiring producer Little Jimmy Penn. Goober Time is engineered by Roger Goodrich and recorded at Detweiler Sound in Humboldt, Tupelo, Mississippi. Sound mixing by Reed Armband with music by Laser Monster, which is Griffin in the past. You can check it out at lasermonster.bandcamp.com. Tom's costume was provided by Padma Lakshmi with catering provided by Kokomo's Mungo Lounge. Kokomo's, if you can't take her here, you can't take her anywhere.